Hello everyone, my name is Alena. I am a trainer for Talking Brows and I am a permanent makeup artist with experience of many years. Today we will talk about top 3 mistakes that all beginning permanent makeup artists make. Mistake number 1 is being afraid of the skin, being afraid of a client, and being afraid to make a mistake. You should be cautious, but don't let your fear to paralyze you. Beginning artists a lot of times are afraid of touching their client, afraid to stretch the skin properly, many times working too superficially, creating a lot of trauma and not placing the pigment into the right layer of the skin. And my advice, don't be afraid. First of all, you need to sit down the way it is comfortable for you. Place your client's head the way it is comfortable for you. Make sure there's a good lighting and that you can see what you're doing. And you stretch the skin of the client nicely 3 ways. And when you start making strokes, start with a very light pressure. Make a few strokes, wipe and see. Wipe with a wet Q-tip. I normally use a micellar water. And then look, and if it's not enough pressure, then go slightly deeper. Keep wiping, keep looking until you see that you're in the right layer of the skin. And how do you know that you're in the right layer? You should see a light, tiny dots of ink. And if they're big and dark, you're too deep. If you want to know more, go to my website and watch my training lesson on a live model where I will show you how and what those dots should look like when you're in the right layer of the skin. And the second common mistake is that the handpiece that you're working with is not adjusted properly. Many times, beginning permanent makeup artists start their work without checking to make sure that their handpiece is working properly and that the needle is adjusted properly and that the ink is flowing nicely. And they start working and that they see that the skin is getting red, but there's no pigment. They press harder to get the ink to come out, traumatizing the skin. They're not doing anything, and at this point, if the skin is already broken and inflamed, you can't go back and start working with it. Even if you get your needle and your handpiece working right, you still can't work with that traumatized skin. If there's too much trauma, skin is going to reject all the ink that you try to put in it. And my advice, always do a test check on a wet cotton disc before you touch your client, just to make sure that the ink is flowing nicely and the needle is working properly. And if you don't know how to do that, you need to go also to my website, and I have a tutorial on how to fine-tune your handpiece before each procedure. And sometimes ink can flow too fast and splatter everywhere, messing up the sketch and where you can't see your work. Every handpiece has its own working length of a needle, and you have to make sure that everything is adjusted properly before you start working with your client. Third mistake is not following the protocol of cleanliness. Using disposable materials twice, touching pigment bottles, things you shouldn't be touching with your gloves after the skin has been broken. Using pencils and pens on broken skin on multiple clients. Not using the right cleaning chemicals and not applying them correctly for the appropriate period of time. The health of your clients are in your hands. They may well never find out what you did, but it's on you to do the right thing. Go to my website and watch my free lesson on how to properly set up your working station, how to wrap your equipment, how to disinfect and which disinfectant solutions must be used in between your clients, and how to clean your working station at the end of the day, which supplies must be disposable and which ones and where you can actually order them. And my advice, everything that touches your client or your client's broken skin should be disposed. If you have your gloves on and you started working with your client and all of a sudden you need to answer your phone or add more pigment, you need to stop, take your gloves off, do what you need to do, use a new pair of gloves when you come back to your client. That's very important. I know it sounds like a common sense, but common sense not always common for everybody. If you like this video, click on the button below and subscribe to my channel to watch weekly free tutorials. And if you want to learn more about permanent makeup, I have a website with online training lessons with anything and everything that you can think of. You can learn about permanent makeup. I will walk you step by step of every little thing that you need to know about permanent cosmetics and when you're first starting. I thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next tutorial.